Okay, the recording is in progress. I should make that a little higher. Okay, we're up to Yud Beis Amid Beis Amid Aleph. Yud Beis Amid Aleph. Yesterday we had the shir of Beis Shammai. We went through the shitas of Beis Shammai, a diner and a shava diner. Why he came up with that? We had four reasonings. We had Reb Zera, we had Reb Yosef, we had Reish Lakish, we had Rava. We had four different reasons. What about Beis Hillel? Now, Beis Hillel's shir is interesting because Beis Hillel is the shir that we use throughout the Torah. Beis Hillel's shir is the shir of the Pruta, right? And the Pruta is the common shir that we use throughout the Torah. So exactly what is a Pruta? So today's first part of the blot is a little tedious. It's math. I have a chart. Baruch Hashem, I have a very good chart, and we'll do the chart even before we do the Gemara. We'll do the chart even before we do the Gemara, and things will make a little sense, okay? I feel bad because Kenny is going in and out. It says the Gemara on Daf Yud Beis, where the up to the first line, Sil oimim bepruta, Savra of Yosef Lemeimar of Yosef held to say, Pruta kol dehu. A pruta fluctuates, says Rashi, kol dehu, kol masha adoris mishanim es hamatbeya, pamim shepoischin, pamim shemesifin mimishkolam. In other words, it's no standard pruta. The pruta goes up in weight, it goes down in weight, and depending upon the generation, it's going to be what? It's going to be, it's not a standard. It goes up, it goes down. That's Rabbi Yosef. Amalei Abaya from our Mishnah, Va'alokatani, kamihi pruta. How much is a pruta? Echem mishmaina b'isra talki. In other words, you're giving me a set amount. It's 1/8 of an Italian isser. Right? We spoke out in the Mishnah, going from the copper denomination to an isser is a silver coin. So 1/8 of this silver coin is what would equal a pruta, and that doesn't fluctuate. You're telling me that what this is a standard. So that's what Abaye is retorting to Rabbi Yosef. How can you say it goes up and down when the Mishnah gives a standard? 1/8 of an Italian issa is a pruta. And you'll tell me, Hani mili b'dorish al Moshe. Maybe the Mishnah was speaking b'dorish al Moshe. That's when what the standard was 1/8 of an issa, but now it's changed. Now it depends upon individuals. I'll tell you later than Moshe. Kiyasa Rabdimi, when Rabdimi came from Eretz Yisrael, Amar, he said, Shir Rebbe Simoy, Rebbe Simoy came ahead and evaluated, B'doiroi, Kami Pruta, how much is a Pruta? Echa Mishmaina Beser Talki, like our Mishnah. And this is the time of the Amoraim, so you can't tell me that it's a standard that goes up and down, because even the time of Ravdimi, Ravasi, Rav Simoy, excuse me, Rav Dimi and the name Rav Simoy, it was a standard 1/8 of an Italian Isser. The Chiyasin Ravin, Amar Rav Destoy, Ravin, when he came, he reported the name of Rav Destoy, Rav Yanai, Rav Oishia, Shiru Kama Have Pruta, they Mishai, how much the Pruta is Echem Mishisha Beisra Talki. So we'll get into the chilik between the 1/8 or 1/6 in a second. The bottom line is both of them are being mishayir on a standard that doesn't fluctuate. It's either 1/8 of an isser or 1/6 of an isser, but it's not fluctuating from generation to generation. So I'm Rabbi Yosef. If so, you're telling me it's a standard. Hainu de Tonina. That's that we learned. Okay, outside, a little piece of outside information. What happens if a person has hana of a shava pruta from Hegdish? Guys, if a person has hana of a shava pruta from Hegdish, correct? Now, what does he have to bring? What does the Torah say? He has to bring an asham me'ilois that's worth 2 saloyim. He has to bring an asham me'ilois that's worth 2 saloyim. A sela, guys, is one. How many prutas are in a sela? 768. There are 768 prutas in a sela. If you times it times 2, it's going to give you 1536. Good? You got it? In other words, that korban is going to go ahead and cost you. You went ahead and had the hana of a shava pruta. You're going to have to pay 1,536 times the amount of that for the aveira you did. So now this brisa is giving you the musar. Say the choshev. Go ahead and consider the aveira you did, right? You did an say chesh the avera. You did an Avera Shava Pruta, and you end up paying how much? 1,536. You got the cheshbon, because it's 70.68 of a Pruta in a seller, and you're bringing 2 slayim. Carbon's going to cost you 2 slayim. Right? The Kashiv Kama Prutas B'shnei slayim, Yoisa Me'alafim. Now, you're saying it's more than 2,000. Now, I told you it's not 2,000. How much is it, guys? 1,568. So hashta alpayim lehave. It's not even 2,000. Yes, alpayim karila. You called it more than 2,000. So bishleim, according to me, Rabbi Yosef, that it fluctuates. It's possible to get the pruta to be what? 2,000. But according to you, that it's a standard, and there's always 768 prutas in a seller. So 2 slayim will always be 1,536. Kasha on Abaya. Kasha on Abaya. You got the kasha, guys? Again, one more time. Abaya said that it's a standard. Rabbi Yossi says it fluctuates. So now I have a brisa that says the following: that say v'choshev, consider the avera you're doing for one having hana of a pruta from hegdish. We all know being moil behegdish requires a carbon. That carbon, the Torah says, is two slayim, 2 shkalim, 2 slayim. Good. Now, how many prutas are there in that? Right. So I'm telling you right now. I'll tell you exactly what it is. On a standard, there's 768 prutas in a seller. So since you have bring a carbon that's worth 2 slayim, you're going to bring 1,536. Says Rabbi Yosef, okay, that's your standard. But my standard is no standard. It goes up and down. And I got a price saying that you're going to be paying 2,000 prutos or even more than 2,000 prutos. How are you going to explain that? You're stuck at 1,536. So Amalahu, Abaye told Rabbi Yosef, you know what? Ahu Saba, Amalahu Saba, used to Rabbi Eliyahu Navi. Anatanina la korv la alpayim. I can say it's not. It's close to alpayim. Saif, guys. How much is it? Elef v'chamesh meya utlisa v'shisa. I was very good when I did the math, and I didn't see the Gemara yet, and it came out. I said Baruch Hashem. So now it's 1,536, right? So how can you tell me it's korv la alpayim? Says Gemara, kivin the nafka lahumi palga. Once you get past 1,500, so korv la alpayim korv. They will call it about close, a little rounded off, a big round off, but it's a round off. But the bottom line is it's not shver. So we had a machloikis between Rabbi Yosef and Abaya. Is a pruta fluctuate? Does a pruta have a standard? The answer is the pruta has a standard. We did mention there are 2 opinions as to how much of the Isser Atalki is a pruta. Our Mishnah says 1/8, and that was the report of Rav Samoi. We had the report of Ravin in the name of Rav Dustoi of 1/6. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and deal with that amount. Okay, let's do the Gemara outside. Let's do the math outside. The Gemara is going to suggest that 1/5 to 1/6 is back to Machlokes Tanoim. Okay, the Gemara is going to bring 2 opinions, and we want to say that the Machlokes between Rav Simoy and Rav Dustoi is a Machlokes Tanoim, whether it's 1/8 of a pruta of a Isra Talki, or it's 1/6 of an Isra Talki. Now, here's the Tanakama. The very important thing to guys to remember is the starting point is the relative. There are 6 ma in Adina, and Adina is 24 Isarim. There's 6 ma to Adina, and Adina is 24 Isarim. That's the starting point. So now, Adina equals 6 ma. 1 ma equals 2 pudyin. So 6 times 2, there are 12 ma'os in 2 pudyin. In 6, there are 1 ma is 12 pinyanim, and now you have it 12 times 2 is what? Is 24 Isarim. So there is 6 ma in 12 Isarim, in 24 Isarim. 6 times 2 times 2, 6 times 2 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24. So you have one dina equals 6 ma, and a dina is 24 Isarim. Here's a dina, guys, right? Here's a dina. 6 times 2 is 12, times 2 is 24. So there are, how many Isarim in a dina? 24 Isarim in a dina. You got it? Now, the next is 2 musmis, 2 contra, 2 prutas. So, if 1 isa equals 2 musmis, and 2 musmis equals 4 kantarim, then 4 kantarim is going to equal what? 8 prutas. 2 times 4 is going to give you 8. So, what's the relationship? for one Isser equals 8 prutas, right? That's what we said, that a pruta is 1/8 of an Isser. That's a pruta is 1/8 of an Isser. It's 1/8 of an Isser Atalki, of an Italian Isser. Now, if that's the case, you go to a dinar, you're going to times 8 times 24. 8 times, again, if the 24 dinarim in an Isser, and an Isser is 8 times 24 is going to give you 192 prutas. Clear? Back. Guys, got it. There it is, right in front of you. If a dinar, if there are 24 Yisarim, and each is an eighth of a dinar, meaning there's 8 dinarim in an Isser, 24 times 8, it'll give you 192 prutas. So therefore, that's your cheshbon of 1/8. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, he has a different cheshbon. He starts off with a dinar. He's going to agree to this cheshbon of what? Of 24 dinarim in a dinar. However, he has a different cheshbon. You're going to end up over here. He goes through 6 more, 3 hadris, 18 hadris, and 6 hainitz, shaman. These are names of things, and then you're going to have 2 prutos. You end up 72 times. You're going to end up with 144, right? You're going to end up with 144. 24 times 6, guys, is 144. So, according to the Rishim Gamliel, the pruta is worth more. There's 144 prutas in a dinar. According to the Tanakama, there are 192 prutas in a dinar, 8-6. So, therefore, the Gemara wants to go ahead and suggest, fellas, the Gemara wants to suggest the machloik, what Rav Dimi said in the name of Rav Simon, and what Ravin said in the name of Rav Distoi is the machloikis Tanoim. The Tanakama holding like Rav Dimi, and the Shim Gamliel holding like what, like Ravin. Is that clear? It's in front of you. It's right in front of you, guys. Good? It's right in front of you. The Gemara is going to answer that it's not, you're not locked into saying that the prutas changes. Kenzain, the pruta is going to be only 192. You know what changes? The Isser. Sometimes the Isser is 24, sometimes the Isser is 32. If the Isser is 24, it's going to be 8. If it's 32, it's going to be 8. If it's 24, it's going to be 6. So it's not the pruta is always going to be 192. It's always because the pruta is the standard. What might change is the Isser. So depending on whether the Isser is going to be 24 or 32, if it's 24, then it's 8. If it's 32, then it's 6. That's the division. Okay, that's the math part of the share. It's one that I was worried about, but today, Baruch Hashem, Yerushalayim or Kiddush, like this, glat, guys, glat. Let's see it inside now. Says the Gemara. Kufa. Kiyasa Rav Dimi Amar, Shir Rav Simoi B'doiroi Kama Hayapruta, Echem Mishmoina B'Isra Talki. Kiyasa Ravin Amar, Shir Rav Destoi, Rav Yanai, Rav Oishia, Kama Hi Pruta, Echem Mishisha B'Isra Talki. 1/6. Amalu Abaya, the Rav Dimi, who says an 8th. Nema at the Ravin, who says the 6th. Beplukta Dahani Tanoi Kondafagisu, that the Machloikis Amaroyim is Machloikis Tanoim. The Tanya. And this is just the chart that we went through. Pruta Shomru Chachamim is Echem Mishmoina B'Isra Talki. Sheishma Kesef, right, is 1 dinar. Ma'a is Shnei Pudyonim. Pudyin is Shnei Isrin. Isser Shnei Musmasim. Musmes, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Shnei Kunta Ronkin, Kuntrik is Shnei Prutais. Nimsa Prutas Achas Mishmoina B'Isra Talki. And you had them yet in front of you. That's 1/8. Shum Gamliel Aimer, Shloisha Hadresin Lama'a, Shnei Hensin Lahadris, Shnei Shamnin Lahanitz, Beis Prutas L'Shamin, Nimsa Pruta Achas Mishisha V'Esra Tilki. It's 1/6. Lema Dimar Omar Yuravami Kitanakama, that's 1/8. For Rava the Omar Krabshim Aliyah, that's 1/6. Amalei, Bain Didi, Bain Ravin, right, we're both going according to the Tanakama, that it's 192, guys. We're both going to Tanakama, it's 192. For Kasha, Hadiyaka Isri, Hadazur Isri. When it went up, it went down. Hadiyaka Isri, that's when Kum Esrim Ba'arba Besusa. So it's 24. So 24 into 192 will give you an eighth. Hadazul, where it gets worth less, it's not worth 24 anymore, it's worth a 32nd of kum tilsa v'teir bezuza, and 32 into 192 is going to give you 6. So don't say, in other words, you wanted to say, fellas, let's look at the chart one more time. You wanted to suggest that the machlokes between Ravin and Rav Dimi is machlokes Tanoim. That Rav Dimi says 8 goes according to his, Ravin goes according to this. And the answer is no. Forget this 144. They're all going according to the over here. The question over here is by the Isser. The Isser over here, is it always going to be worth 24? Or might sometimes it be worth 6 2 2 is 20 over here. 6 2 is 12, 24. This Isser, is it always going to be worth 24th of a dinar? Or maybe sometimes 32nd of a dinar. When it's worth 24 of a dinar, then it's an 8. When it's worth 24, then it's 8. And when it's worth 32, it's 6. Guys, good? But it's the 192. The proof is 192. So I heard Rabbi Bornstein, he spoke out. How much is the Bisman Hazeh? I don't know. I have it written over here, Bisman Hazeh. I'll tell you this. I didn't hear from him. He brought down the riff in the Rambam that it's a soira, it's a piece of barley, and you cut that in half. Of a silver piece of barley cut in half would equal a pruta. I have written down over here the meat 30 milligrams of soira is between 30 and 50 milligrams. Half a shavar pruta is 15 to 25. 60 grams or 100 grams of pure silver. 60 grams or 100 grams of pure silver. That's what it would be. I don't know how much that is. Probably not too much. Guys, you good? Okay, that ends the cheshbon. That's the Gemara of the cheshbon, and we're good. I mean, I'm good. Any questions? I think, math is usually not my thing, but I think this one is pretty easy arithmetic. It's not difficult. You want to say that it's 132, it's 192, 144, that there's a difference amount in the pruta. There's no difference amount in the pruta. Everyone holds that pruta is 192 that's in a dinar. It's 192 prutas in a dinar. The question is the Isser, that relationship, is it 32 to 192 or is it 24 to 192? Amashmuel, new Gemara, totally new Gemara. Amashmuel, Kitcher B'tamra, if you makadosh a woman with a date, afilu oime kur tamarim, which is a huge amount, b'dinar, b'kudeshes. In other words, in this case where clearly it's not worth a shava pruta because there's so many dates in a core, shivim kudeshes, chayshinan wechayish shema shava pruta b'madai. It seems in Madai that the dates had big value because there weren't any dates in Madai, right? Since there weren't any dates in Madai, right? Since there weren't any dates in Madai, it had more value. So says Shmuel, we're chayish, even though it's not worth a shava pruta over here, we're chayish over there. Mashma, what do I worry about? Is it worth a shava pruta or not worth a shava pruta? Doesn't really kasha. Habik dushe vadai, habik dushe safek. Regarding kedushe vadai, if you know it's a pruta, then it's kedushe vadai. If it's not a pruta, when? If it's not a shava pruta, I have to be chayish that perhaps it's worth a shava pruta in madai, and then I'll be chayish kedushe safek. So if she collects Kidushin from another man, she need to get from the first guy. If the guy who gave her the money dies, she needs chalitza, suffix. But we're not saying it's a Kidushay Vadai. I'm Mishnah speaking about Kidushay Vadai. Shmuel is introducing that if you're not sure, then it's Kidushay suffix. It's a big chiddush. Big chiddush. Says the Gemara Vaita. Hu Gavra, there was this person, the Agdish, he was Mekadish a woman, be Zavda de Varde. So it's like some type of a gudish al muchen soft material. Yasser Rav Simi Barchia Kamed Rav, come ayimba. Ismei Shava Pruta, Eloi. Eloi Loi. Be less by Shava Pruta, Loi, Vamashmuel Chashina like Chashinon. So Lakasha Hav Vadai Hav Kushi Vadai Hav Gush Safik. Same teretz. Third case. Ahu Avra, the Agdish Be'avno de Kolcha, he was Mekadish, a woman using some blue stone. Some blue stone. And the question was whether it had value or not. Yosef Rav Chisda, the Komeshayala, Rav Chisda was evaluating it. He is Shava Pruta in the Eloi. Now, why would you expect the Gemara not to say Ha Kidushin Vadai, Ha Kidushin Safik? You'd expect the same thing. The less Shava Pruta Loi. Ivam Shmuel Chashinon says Rav Chisda Loi Sabala de Shmuel. He doesn't hold like Shmuel. Now, why doesn't the Gemara, guys, give this teretz that we just gave? HaKadushi Vadai, HaKadushi Safik. So this Ikka Chasim in Asif over here, Rashi alludes to it and cryptically, and the Taisus says it openly. Look at Taisus, fascinating Taisus. Now, Kista Lei Savala de Shmuel. Hacha Lei Matzi L'Shnuye HaBikdushe Safik Kidal El. Over here, you're not able to go ahead and say it's speaking about Kedushi Safik like before, like we just gave in the other two cases. Mishum de Mairi Shekitsha Achiv Achachach Pruta. So a man came along, gave this woman this blue stone, came along the brother and gave her a Vadai Pruta. And gave her along a Vadai Pruta. Now, if you're going to say that what? That it's Kedusha, either way, you have a problem. If it's Kedusha Vadai, she's not married to the second brother. It's Kedusha Safik, then she, if she's Kedusha Vadai, then she can't marry the second brother because it's Kedusha Sachiv. Right? So Taisus here is nice. Rav Chisda wants to take off the first Kidushin. Because he's going to say Gevait in Gemara, Lav kol keminich. You're not believed the Asra Abasra to Asra on the latter one. He doesn't hold Shmuel. V'havi Amar Rishonim Safik Have Im Kain Tzarich Loimar that Tzricha get me Rishon. You need to get from the first one, and in Kain Ts Surah Mishum the Havi Grushas Achiv should be Asa as Grushas Achiv. Rav Chisda does not hold the Rav Shmuel. Furthermore, why do you have to say Rav Chisda doesn't hold the Shmuel? Why don't you say Kedusha Vadai Kedusha Safik? And the answer is because if he did, there was no eitzah for the second guy, Memanushach. If she's married to the first guy, he's not available to the second. And if she's not, and if she divorced from the first guy, then what? Then it's Kedusha Sachiv. So he said, no, she's not married to the first guy unequivocally. Therefore, the Kedushin of the Vadai Pruta of the second brother, that counts. That counts. So therefore, the Gemara says, doesn't give the teretz Kedusha Vadai Kedusha Safik. The Gemara gives the teretz, he does not hold like Shmuel. Because he did hold like Shmuel, there was no eitzah to go ahead and get this married to the second guy. Says the Gemara Vaita. Now, Amalei Ime, Vahu Yuma de Kotsha, Havi Be Shava Pruta. The day that you Makadish, this stone was worth a Shava Pruta. And therefore what? She was from Gudeshes to the first guy, and the second guy, I'm sorry. So Amalah, Chisda told this woman, Lav Kol Kaminech, the Asra La Basra. You can't go ahead. You don't have the power to Asra on the Basra, right? You don't have the power. Again, that's what Taisus was saying. Lav Kol Kaminech, you have no right to testify that the Rishon is a Kedushin and Asra on the Abasra. You don't have that power. Lav Hainu, this is not the same on the base. The Yehudis, the Messiah, the Reb Chia, the Havilei Tsar Leda. Now, just as an introduction, Reb Chia did not have a happy marriage. We saw a Gemara in Yevamis Daf Samach Gimel fellas that Reb Chia, his wife, treated him terribly. She awful. And Rav, his nephew, said, "Why do you stay with her?" And he said, "It's enough that she raises my children, and she's shaming me from an aveira." Right. This is just another example of the lack of shalom bias that went on there. Now, there's a Gemara in Nida that says, what's the reason, it's a Mishnah, why is a woman being a carbon yoledes? Why is she being a carbon yoledes? Carbon yoledes a chatas. Why is she being a chatas? What sin did she do? We said, maybe she's going to curse her husband the time she's giving birth and promise never to go back to him again. Listen to this. So this is, you say, Lav Kol Kaminech, it's the same case as the Yehudis, the Visayid Reb Chia. She has a name, Yehudis, the wife of Reb Chia. The Havas Tsar Leda. She was having twins and she had tremendous tsar. So Amr Lei, she said to Reb Chia, Amr Lei, my mother told me that Kibel Be'avuch Kedushe Ki Sutras. When I was a katana, my father accepted Kedushin from somebody else. As speaking the Sati Lishazeh, and therefore, guess what? I'm not married to you and the children are mamzerim. That's what she said in her tsar. So Amallah, so Reb Chia said, Lav kol kamina. If he said to his mother-in-law, guess what? I don't believe you. You don't have the power to believe it. Guys, is a Maisa with Moshe. There was a Maisa with Moshe. Moshe was at a wedding. He was the Masada Kidushin. And at the wedding, under the chuppah, the mother called out and said, the child's a mamza. And Moshe turned to her and says, you're not believed. And he just turned around and went back to the wedding as if nothing happened. Rav Kol Kamina, you're not believed? You're not believed? You're not believed? Same thing? You're not believed? Amalei Rabbanu Rav Chisda. Amai, why is she not believed? Ha'ika sadeh be'idis, the yoda devahu yuma havi be'shover pruta. Now, it doesn't mean, as we're going to see, that there's real Eidim. If they're real Eidim, then you got Kahak Tzaris. It means there's a rumor, there's a coil, but it's not real Eidis. Because why? Hashtamiya, come on. They're not in front of us now. The Lav Hainu the Rav Chanina, Dam Rav Chanina, Idius Bitsad Istan, you have Eidis in the northern part, B'tiyasa, Yishbiyasa. Okay, so look at Taisvis. Vikasadi, here we have the Gisa, Uvris. Look, Elanir Lari. Look down, guys. Look down. Elanir Lari, the Farish, Va'ikasade, Klaimar, Yatsa HaKoil, Sheyesh Eidim Be'orius, Ayim Medinas Hayom. You don't know Vadai they're Eidim. There's a coil that there's Eidim. There's a coil that there's Eidim, you don't have to be chayish for that coil. You don't have to be chayish for the coil, but Eidim Mamish you would. Eidim Mamish you would. Says the Gemara Vaita. Now, there was two. Why are you not believed over here? Why are you not believed over here? Right, the Rav Chisda. They didn't hold to mata this woman to the second person, and so in other words, not because you're not believed, because shem hikilu, if you're mekel and you're not chayish ve'edim, right? Then b'shvuya de menavla nafsha gabi shvoy nekel be'eshes ish. Rashi fellas, the Reb Chanina, Biksubis Gabi Binsei de Shmuel, the Shtaboyan, they were captured by Sinan Lebei Midrash, and they were brought to the base Medrash, the Reb Chanina. V'kimnu l'shvuyayu abroy, and the captives were outside. Ha'omra, they said Nishbesi, we were captured, but Tahira ani, and we're still Tahira. We weren't Nifsala. V'chein idach ve'tirum lekahuna. The second one also said so, and Reb Chanina mated them to marry into the kahuna. You have Edis that they were captured. They're not in front of us. They're not testifying. In other words, they're not testifying that they were captured. They're not testifying they were captured. So therefore, they're not in front of us now. So Abai Rabbi said the following: how can you compare that to the case of what? Of our case, by Shava Pruta. Over there, it's possible that they made themselves so disgusting that no man would have wanted to be with them. Mashenket over here, this case over here, to matter an Eshes Ish, that may be worse than Shava Pruta, therefore they disagreed with Rav Chisda. So it says the Gemara, that you're not believed to say that it's a Shava Pruta. I guess the hikilu b'shvuya. Why? You know why? Now, if you're going to be makel by shvuya, the daughters of Shmuel, you know the reason? The menavla nafsha gabi shvoy. They made themselves look disgusting by their captors. Nekel be'eshes ish. Okay. Ishtara. Okay. Me'ahut mishpacha b'soya who push rabbanim minei. So this mishpacha that was a result of Rav Chisda's psak. Right. It was left over. Ishtora, there was zera left over mishpacha. That mishpacha that Rav Chisda mated when they said that the kuchla wasn't worth a shava pruta, and there were left over children from them, and uporshu rabbanim minor chachamim das mamzeris stayed away from them. Not because of Shmuel that they're chayish that maybe it was worth a shava pruta, right? In other words, Shema Shava Pruta Modai. So it wasn't that chayish that we had Eidim that is worth a Shava Pruta, and therefore she did Mamzerim because they really married to the first husband. Elamishum the Svirlahu Ke'abayavarava. They held like a Vayavarava. Since there are Eidim in Idias, we have to be chayish for them because it's not similar to Shvuyin. By Shvuyin, we have a reason that they make themselves disgusting, and therefore Therefore, they believed. Mashenkin over here, right? Mashenkin over here, where there's no such svara, we have to be chayish for them. So that's why Rava, Abaye for Rava was chayish of Kista, and therefore this mishpacha, unfortunately for them, in the future, people stayed away from them because of the chashash of Abaye for Rava, that perhaps there was something that was mekudeshes, and will believe that there's edim to that v'atishim mekudeshes. Not because Shem Shava Pruta B'madai, but Shem there was edus that water was worth a Shava Pruta. Ahu Gavra the Agdish Bishutisa the Asa Bishuka. There was a person who was Makadish, a woman with the Asa is Hadasim. It's Hadasim in the Shuk. So he did in the Shuk. Sholcha Rav Achla Baruchunu l'Kamed Rav Yosef Ki Agavna Mai. What's the din? Right. We want to know over here what's the din of the Mekadesh B'Shuk, right? What's the din of Mekadesh, right? So Sholach Lei Rav Yosef sent back to Rav Acha Bar Huna, Nagdei Kerav, go ahead and slug them like Rav, go ahead and hit them like Rav, and Vitzrich Kita Kishmuel, and you need to get. Well, in other words, what's the kasha, fellas? Is this Hadasim worth a Shavar Pruta or not? This is the sugya. Is this Hadasim worth a Shavar Pruta or not? So this guy got much more than he bargained for. Not only. He just wanted a simple answer. Is she Mekudeshes or not Mekudeshes? So he said, first of all, beat him up like Rav. Nagde. Give him Malchus like Rav. We'll see in a second. And you need to get like Shmuel that maybe Shema Shava Hadassin B'madai, maybe they're worth a Shava Pruta. So he got a little extra than he asked for. Says the Gemara. Right. Now, the Rav Mangid, Rav would give Malchus al the Mekadesh B'Shuka, that a person would be Mekadesh in the street. He held it was priestistic. Val Mekadesh B'Biyah, Val Mekadesh B'Loi Shiduchi, without first speaking about it to the girl, you just pop at the question. Val the Mevatle Gita, and someone that was Mevatel a get. According to Rashi, you Mevatel the Shliach might continue, or according to Tosfos, you Mevatel to a Bezdin. Remember, you go to Bezdin, you say it's Batel, the Shliach doesn't know that, and goes ahead and delivers it, and you create problem. So you get a person would do this, he would get Malchus according to Rav. The Masr Moida Agita, he says he gives a Moida that the get was given coerced against his will. The Mitzvah Shlucha de Rabbanon, anyone who would go ahead and pain subpoenaed to Bezdin by one of these Shluchim of Bezdin, and they would hit him. Those guys would get Malchus. The Chalola, you're not taking care of your local police first. Someone who goes ahead and goes against the police. Someone who remained in Chayrim in 30 days and didn't do anything to take off the Chayrim. Okay, and in addition, and a son-in-law that lived in the same house as a mother-in-law, because he always chayish that Gemara Pesachim says that you have to be careful about the first son-in-law and a mother-in-law. First son-in-law and a mother-in-law. You never do this Gemara. Rashi quotes the Gemara, fellas. Look at Rashi. Maybe there'll be an act of snus. Stam a mother-in-law loves her son-in-law. The Amamar Havizor be'ishtecha mechasana harishon. Like the Gemara Kufiyud Gimel in Pesachim says that what? So I'll tell you something very cute. My son Moish, just his wife's sister got married. So I was by the chasana with him, and someone came over to Moish and said, "Don't worry, you'll still be number one." And when the guy walked away, Moish said to me, he goes, he probably knew the Gemara in Pesachim. That's right away. Right? He's kid as quick as a whip. Because he probably knew the Gemara in Pesachim. They'll be number one. They have to be chayish. Again, they used to get married. They'd live with they'd live in the father-in-law's house. When they built, they used to build houses for like the chassanim. They live with the father-in-law. They don't live not with the father. The chassim live with the father. It's funny. You're not chayish a father-in-law with a daughter-in-law. You're chayish a son-in-law with a mother-in-law. You're chayish for a son-in-law with a mother-in-law, and therefore Rav would get Malchus if they lived together. Fascinating. Continues the Gemara along a very nice digression from some hard Gemara. Says the Gemara, and Didire in Cholif Loi, just living there and not even passing by. Who chasna the Cholif above the Mechamua, there was this chasna who would go ahead and pass by his mother-in-law's house. The Nagde, Rav Sheshes and Rav Shevis gave malchus even just by passing by. So what do you mean living in? You don't even have to live in. It says, no matter who made them have there was a rumor. We had this site. There's a rumor already about them. There's a rumor. Stay out of the neighborhood. Don't be around. But Islam, there's no rumor. You can't live together. So this question that was posed, the question that was sent to Rav Acha Bar Huna in front of Rav Yosef, this question that was sent, Rav Yosef said to Rav Acha Bar Huna that if he was Makadish with a Hadassim in the street, give him Malchus for being in the street. What's the Pritzis? Makadish Babi is Pritzis. If you look at Toisus, here's a good Pritzis, guys. Look at Toisus. Second Toisus in the bottom. Mishum Pritzusa, the Farsha Ben Utam, the Hainu Pritzusa, Vishatzorachoi Ede Bia or Ede Yichud. The Dava Mechuyat Shemaim Edim Alkain. Right? To have Edim on that, it's not such a nice thing. Yes, the Kashvan going Yavamis. Okay. So the bottom line is you give Malchus because of this, and you Chayish with Shmuel, that is what you need to get because the Shmuel's there. Okay, we're gonna just finish. Did I finish up? Vikid Yami a little bit more. Nadoy Amri, Bekululay Magid Rav. Rav did not give Malchus on all of these things. El al the Mekadesh Bebia, Beloy Shiduchim. He learned it. We learned it in the first lesson as two things: Beloy Bebia and Beloy Shiduchim. Here we're learning it one thing. You can Kaddish Bebia and if you didn't speak about it beforehand. Even if you did speak about it beforehand, if you Kaddish Bebia, then Pritzusa, who it's Pritzis Malma. So if you think about it, you go ahead with a woman, you live with her, you don't say anything about the Kidushin, that would be a Maisa of Pritzis. That would be the Maisa that you get Malchus on. But what about you be Makadish Bebia, L'chaira, what's wrong? It's one of the three ways of acquiring a woman, and you spoke about it. Says as we just saw twice, it's still a pritzistic thing that you have to be samach edim outside the door. That's it. I wish everyone a good Shabbos. We'll see you. We won't see you.